Jonathan's Mind Power TV show swept across America, then throughout the world, helping hundreds of thousands of people turn their lives around.
Because I bought others from other people, other seminars, and his are just absolutely amazing compared to anything I've ever used. And money just comes out of nowhere. The images that are implanted in your subconscious somehow attract things to you.
Since using these programs, I became the #1 salesman out of a sales force of 325, and I don't believe I could have done that without these programs. They're essential in my success.
Jonathan has discovered the keys to unlocking the forces and powers of your subconscious mind that will create opportunities for you to make more money, create a better life for your children, have rich, loving relationships, and give you a positive and confident self-image. Today, Jonathan and his co-host Darla Hahn will be revealing the amazing secrets in self-empowerment so you can have the life you've always dreamed of.
So tell us, Jonathan, how does the Self-Empowerment series provide the answers to teach us how to break free of the chains that bind us from being and getting what we want?
Simply by accessing both the conscious and subconscious mind. This is what sets the Self-Empowerment program apart from any other. It teaches you how to retrain your subconscious mind to eliminate the limitations it took on from your childhood.
You mentioned that we must access the subconscious portion of our minds. So, Jonathan, explain the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind.
Well, Darla, your conscious mind is the part of your mind that you're aware of. You use it continually every day to think and to make decisions. But your subconscious is running below the awareness of your conscious mind. And it is so powerful because it stores all your memories, all your feelings and emotions, and most importantly, all the limiting beliefs that you gained since you were born.
What makes up the overall program?
It is everything that you've absorbed in life. Your limiting fears and doubts, the limiting programs that say you can only make so much money, that you're not worthy of a good relationship, etc. All these memories and programs exert a tremendous influence on your conscious behavior and actions and can determine what you actually end up having in life. From the time you were born, your mind was receiving input from those around you. As you grew, you went on to be told that you couldn't do this or that, bombarded with negativity and limitations by those around you, saying things like, "You're bad. Why can't you ever get anything right? I told you no, and I mean no." In fact, researchers estimate that by the time we enter school, we've heard no 40,000 times.
Wow, that is a lot of negative programming.
It sure is, especially since when we are young, we are so impressionable and strongly influenced by the beliefs of those around us. We began seeing ourselves in a certain way, according to our parents, teachers, and friends' attitudes toward us. This formed an image we held of ourselves in our subconscious mind. That's called our self-image, and it is basically formed by the time we are 12 years old. And yet, it continues to affect us for the rest of our life, unless we go into our subconscious and change it. Let me give you an example of how this happens. Imagine there is a Little League baseball player who usually gets up to bat and strikes out. And now he's about to get up to bat again. What kind of images are likely to be going through that child's mind? Is he thinking, "This time I'm going to hit a home run"? Of course not. This youngster has very little self-confidence because each time he does get up to bat, he's more nervous and scared than the time before. And that's why he usually strikes out. The reason I know this is because as a child I played on a Little League team. And I remember the nervousness and the fear of striking out as I walked up to the plate. I wound up striking out every time but twice the entire year. Can you imagine how it felt to strike out again and again and get that sinking feeling of humiliation and defeat? It was horrible.
I can imagine.
Then, when we become adults and we approach stressful or challenging business or relationship situations, We react with the same kind of nervousness, self-consciousness, and fear that we will strike out again.
Even though I worked as hard as I could at my job, there was still something missing. So I started my own business, and I worked as hard as I could for 8 years, but I could never make the kind of money I wanted. Then I bought the Self-Empowerment series, and within 7 months, my income more than doubled, and it's steadily rising. I discovered that you needed more than information on how to start and run a business to help you succeed. You need the subconscious success programs to help you succeed. If you don't have a positive programming in your subconscious, nothing's going to make you succeed, no matter how hard you work.
Medical doctor and noted Southern California psychiatrist Dr. John Nassy has known Jonathan Parker for 10 years. Dr. Nassy endorses Jonathan's techniques, uses them in his practice, and is enthusiastic about the positive results self-empowerment creates for people.
I first became aware of Jonathan Parker's techniques. I find that even though a person becomes aware of the mechanisms and the dynamics of their problems, they need to literally reprogram themselves, and that's where these come in. They're incredibly effective for bringing about reprogramming and changes in a much briefer period of time than I would ordinarily expect through just analysis. This is an opportunity for my patients to take their therapist home with them.
Let me tell you a story about someone who thought he was limited and thought he couldn't change either. In the mid-70s, no human being had ever lifted 500 pounds overhead, and no one believed it was even possible. The world's record was held by a Russian, Vasily Alexeyev. Vasily had come close, but never lifted 500 pounds. For one important competition, his trainers told him that he would be lifting a weight that he had lifted before, 499 pounds. But after he lifted it, he discovered that his trainers had deceived him about the weight. He had actually lifted more than 500 pounds and set a new world's record.
Before using Jonathan's self-empowerment, I felt like I was hitting my head against the wall. I was so limited by my old childhood beliefs that I couldn't make anything work. After using self-empowerment, I recognized my own limitations, and they just melted away. Now I've created the job I want in my life, and even my relationships have more love and caring in them. A year ago, I couldn't have imagined the amazing things that have happened in my life. I have a feeling of being reborn now, like I have a second chance at life.
Jonathan's relinquished fears, doubts, and blocks, and I think that's what you need to do to be successful in everyday life. They empower you, which are a bargain. They give you so much self-esteem. They answer a lot of questions. So I don't think you can really put a price on something like that.
Here's a perfect real-life example of a friend of mine who was a salesman in Kansas for a big company. He had made $26,000 a year for 2 years. And so the company decided to move him into a better territory where he could make a lot more money. But the amazing thing is that when they moved him, he wound up making the exact same amount of money, $26,000. And so then they moved him to a weaker sales area. And once again, he wound up making $26,000. When I discussed this pattern with him, we discovered that his father had made $26,000, and that had become set in his mind as the limit of what he could earn.
Wow.
Amazing, isn't it? And this is very common for people to limit themselves by their parents' accomplishments. What happened to my friend is his subconscious programming kept him on course to always make $26,000. No more, no less, regardless of circumstances.
So your subconscious mind is kind of like an automatic pilot that just keeps you on course.
Yes, in certain ways it is very much like an autopilot. It holds you on a particular course until that course is changed. If the autopilot is set for a course that takes it into the side of a mountain, that is where the plane is going. And if your subconscious autopilot is set on failure, you will fail. It is inevitable.
Okay, so here's the $64,000 question. Jonathan, how do we get through to change our subconscious programs?
Well, the quickest and most powerful way to reprogram the subconscious has been used by all the greatest minds throughout history. In fact, this technique works so effectively in reprogramming the subconscious mind and changing your subconscious program that you will be amazed.
Well, what is it?
Well, it's a special visualizing process that can totally turn your life around.
Through Jonathan's visualization techniques, I have created a new person, a new body. I lost 25 pounds. I work out. I'm healthy, and I want the best out of life. And I just have a zest and love for life. It's changed me a lot.
In high school, I kicked a 64-yard field goal, breaking the long-held record of Tom Dempsey. Then I went on to be an All-American at USC. Then I was drafted by the Green Bay Packers. My life was on cloud nine. I was looking forward to a long career in professional football. Then my knee was severely damaged in a football game. All my life I had prepared to be a professional football player. Then I found myself not able to play. I started with the visualization, and out of the blue, I was offered a business opportunity that has now sprouted into a multi-million-dollar company. I never thought I'd have the opportunity to make the money I did in professional football, but now I'm making more money than I ever imagined possible.
So, Jonathan, we've been hearing about the powerful results with visualization. Can you now explain how visualization works?
Here's a study that I personally find fascinating on how visualization works. 30 people were divided into 3 groups. On the first day, everyone's golfing accuracy was measured before they started the experiment. For the next 6 days, one group was asked to imagine making a successful putt before every attempt. Then they were told to imagine the ball rolling right into the cup. A second group was also asked to imagine a putt before every attempt. They were told to imagine the golf ball rolling toward the cup, but narrowly missing. The third group was told merely to try to sink each putt. After 6 days, the group that used positive imagination and visualization before every putt had improved 30%. The group that made no use of visualization increased in accuracy, but only by 10%. This demonstrates how powerful visualization can be when used to learn a new task, even when people have not used the skill before. But even more interesting, the group that visualized the ball missing the cup showed a decrease in accuracy of 21% after only 6 days.
That's incredible.
And not only is it incredible, but this proves that thinking about failure can actually damage your performance. Just like a baseball player afraid of striking out and then getting up to bat and striking out. What we fear, we create for ourselves. And visualizing the positive also creates what you want. There was more than a 50% difference between the group that visualized failure and the group that visualized success. And that 50% difference was after only 6 days of visualizing.
It's amazing.
It sure is. The images and thoughts that we hold in our minds create and bring them into our lives.
I put a picture of a new car up on the wall and visualized having it, and in less than a year's time, the car I wanted was in my driveway. Everything is great in my life now. I now know that I can create anything I want in my life. The messages are so positive and the information so clear and easy on how to visualize things in your life. I can't see how anyone couldn't create the things in their life that they really want.
Now let me tell you about another amazing study. The Soviet Union used mental training techniques with 4 groups training for the Winter Olympics at Lake Placid, New York in 1981. Group A had 100% physical training. Group B had 75% physical training and 25% mental training. Group C had 50% physical training and 50% mental training. Group D had only 25% physical training and 75% mental training. So Darla, which group do you think made the greatest improvement in performance?
Well, based on what we've been learning here, it's got to be Group D?
Exactly. This is the group that had 75% mental training and only 25% physical training. And the next after Group D were the other groups in the order of the amount of mental training, not physical training, that each of the groups had. Surprisingly, last of all was Group A, the group that had 100% physical training.
This is so exciting because this proves without a shadow of a doubt that mental training is the most important thing that we can do.
Yes, and that's why the best athletes and most successful people use it.
Are there any other secrets to help reprogram the subconscious mind that would work hand in hand with visualization?
Yes, there is. Our self-talk or mind talk is what we're saying and thinking to ourselves all day long. In fact, it's hard to turn it off, and it can either bring us up or get us down. And this mental self-talk impacts our subconscious over time, and it becomes our internal belief system.
I see. And it seems like everyone puts themselves down with negative self-talk, like, I'm not smart enough, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm not good looking enough, I'll never be rich. So it's no wonder with these kinds of things going around in everyone's mind that we have problems with relationships, money, health, and everything else.
You're absolutely right, Darla. Remember we said earlier that by the time we start school, we've heard no 40,000 times? But the good news is the Self-Empowerment series has Mind Talk on building a strong, positive self-image, implanting success and prosperity, stopping procrastination that will get you accomplishing more than you ever thought you could, and longevity, vitality, and health, to implant positive thoughts in your subconscious for good health and vital energy.
Now, through the Self-Empowerment series, you can possess the life-changing secrets of visualization. Visualization is the language of the subconscious, and this is why it is the most powerful subconscious reprogramming tool of all time. These amazing techniques can help you create the life you've dreamed of, and this is why they are being used by doctors to speed recovery, by medal-winning athletes to perfect their performances, and by people to help them reach their personal and financial goals. You will automatically activate an innate energy present in all of us that will magnetically attract what you visualize, whether it is money, health, love, or self-confidence. There's just no limit to the way your life can improve with visualization. And now self-empowerment makes visualization an easy process that anyone can do. And it's especially vital for your children while forming their all-important self-image, which makes the difference between failure and success in their life. Open the door to the life you've dreamed of and the life you deserve. It can be yours.